pleasure today to welcome to Eloquently Her, Karen Hare, who's the CEO of Cancer Campaign in Suffolk, a charity helping people through their journey with cancer. Karen tells me that 1 in 2 of us will experience cancer in our lifetime. Karen, welcome. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. I'd love to understand a little bit more about the journey that you take people on when they're diagnosed with cancer.
So we help people before, during and after cancer. So we help people that we have a preventative message to actually give out, and we have an educator who goes into schools, local businesses, to community groups, to teach people signs and symptoms, what to look out for. Quite a lot of people think that there's only one sign of breast cancer when there are 9, and it's what to look out for and what to do when you find something.
People live in fear of finding something, so does that mean that still detecting it and getting that message across that you must check and check again, that still remains a really hard task for you?
It is, but also it's once you find something that's not common to you, something that's different to you. So if it's about being body aware. So if you actually look at your body today and you look at it in a few weeks' time and there's something different, if you hadn't looked at it in the first place, you wouldn't be quite sure that what you saw 2 weeks later was different.
And also about perhaps understanding that there isn't a typical age, there isn't a typical...
There isn't. You're quite right. It is not... Don't think that... we have sort of testicular cancer, 19 to 25. Actually, don't think just because you're over that you can't get it. That's not the case at all. Don't think that because you're a young woman that actually cancer is something that old people get, because again, that's not the case at all. And everybody's cancer is personal to them, is completely different to the next person's cancer. So we do the preventative bit. We help people during cancer. We actually employ counsellors and also complementary therapists that actually help people whilst they're actually going through treatment, which is huge. It helps people to give them space. It gives them time for themselves. It gives them that understanding of where they're at. It's not about them being a cancer patient. We've got counsellors that can actually help them through any difficulty they may be having as well. We built the John LaVey Cancer Information Centre in 2004, which is off the Oncology Department at Ipswich Hospital, and that's where we have our complementary therapy and our counselling actually happens.
Tell me about that centre and why the need was for a charity to be responsible for the creation of that. So some people would say there are so many people going through cancer, why is our health authorities not responsible for producing that anyway?
In 2004, it was not mandate for people to have information. And in those days, John LaVey was the senior oncologist at Ipswich Hospital. And Jason Cundy, then Ipswich Town footballer, found he got testicular cancer. And Jason was desperate for information, and the information wasn't there or easily accessible for him. So together they decided that they were part of the great and the good of Suffolk in those days, went to many charitable events, supported lots and lots of charities, but saw no money coming back to Suffolk. So they decided that they wanted to have a charity that was outside of the NHS, that was very much about the local community, that was about putting money into the local community for local people. So that's exactly what the charity was formed for, and the building of the information centre was so that people had got somewhere to be able to get that information. So it took 4 years to raise £500,000, and the information centre was then built by Cancer Campaign in Suffolk. We refurbish it. The complementary therapists and the counsellors that go through there are actually our responsibility too.
And how many people go through that door on an annual
Thousands.
basis?
And also it's increasing. With the merger of Colchester Hospital, it will increase even more. So it is on the increase.
Is it true that far more people in society are suffering from cancer and experiencing cancer? Or is this there is more knowledge about it, so it's discussed more, so therefore statistics report that more people are going through cancer?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Right.
I think that there's definitely an increase in people talking about cancer, and we encourage that. I mean, that is it's something. We don't want it to be behind closed doors. We don't want it to be something that people fear so much that they won't do something about it. So if you bring it out into the open, it's a much easier to be able to tell people when you have cancer. So in a family environment, if any of your children have actually been, or young adults have actually been to one of our workshops, which takes an hour, very interactive, dare I say fun, We use humour, and it's that if you actually have to tell somebody that you've actually got cancer, it's much easier when the youngsters have actually been to something that we've done, because they're actually aware, they've got a basic understanding of what you're talking about. We can't take away the fear. We can try. We have got more survivors of cancer today than we have ever had. And that's about an earlier diagnosis. That's about people getting there early. We think that we've probably touched about 29,000 people with a workshop that actually has given them some instruction on cancer, so some information on cancer. And we're always there and free for people to ask questions later. And there's quite a lot of that. We've got some amazing prostheses that we actually use to teach young girls how to do a proper breast check, and to teach them actually how to do testicular checking too. And we give the boys the breast vest and the girls the testicles, and we actually get them to do it. Because if you're in a relationship, please be responsible, and if you find something, don't joke about it, do something about it.
Right, so it's about kind of saying, my parent, my partner, I can help them identify something.
Jason Cundy's testicular cancer was found by his wife. Right. Now, to say he was a footballer who actually went through lots of medics, it's unusual that his wife actually found his, but she did.
Is the internet a blessing or a curse to someone like
doing
the work that you do?
Yeah,
you know?
Because it terrifies people. And also you don't just read the little bit that you want for now, you read the whole lot. Yeah. And so we all put ourselves in the worst possible situation. So it's scary. And so that's where you need to go and see a doctor.
So I'm quite interested to know how you found yourself into this world of helping people through their cancer journey.
So I've always been in a career where I've helped people. So before
consciously?
No, not at all. No, just one of those things. It just fitted. It was just like putting an old pair of gloves on, really, for me. It was very much. So I used to work for a national charity, and a national charity that was affiliated to the BBC. And that took me to BBC Radio Suffolk, where I'd actually been there as a volunteer. The action desks that were on BBC Radio Suffolk was where I used to work. Now, the action desk on BBC Radio Suffolk would have done social action broadcasting, so we would have dealt with most of the charities in Suffolk. We would have helped them in one way or another, whether it was for an appeal. I built Landseer Park, and it would, in those days, it was the first disabled and able-bodied play area, and we did that in the Children in Need week, so we had a week to actually build it, and we worked with Ipswich Borough Council, Jackson's, loads of local companies, national companies. So that was our millennium.
So how did somebody come knocking on the door about Cancer Campaign?
A strange man with a telephone call actually invited me to lunch. I don't normally take sort of calls like that, but on this occasion I don't know why it felt right to do it. And the then Chair of Trustees, who is now still the Chair of Trustees, Jonathan Rittman, invited me to take over the charity. John LeVay had sadly died. Their fundraiser that had actually been working her socks off wanted to retire, and he said, here's my charity, what would you like to do with it?
Thank you so much, Karen. That's some brilliant practical advice there and a really great insight into the work you do, so thank you.
You're welcome.